Good afternoon, everyone. We'll give it a couple more seconds as people are starting to filter in. Great. All right. So we'll kick off. My name is Erica Selke. I'm the lead planner for the Far South region with the Department of Planning and Development. We're here today to talk about the Missing Middle Infill Housing Initiative. This is an informational webinar. We will take questions, the entire time. So if you want to go into the Q&A, you can start entering your questions now, and we'll try to answer them as we move forward. So today, our agenda is to have introductions and welcome, to define the missing middle, what that means, and then look at the program and overview of geographies. We'll talk about the application process and the requirements, and we'll also share the evaluation and selection process, what we're looking for. We have some additional program details and then the Q&A. But as I mentioned, feel free to start entering your questions in the Q&A box whenever they come up. So with that, I'd like to turn to Commissioner Boatwright, who will welcome us today. Commissioner?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm really excited for us to kick off our second round of Missing Middle. As you may know, we started our first round in the North Lawndale community area, and there's so much excitement, so much energy, complementary development and investment, and we're thrilled to kick off our second pilot on the south side of Chicago, and not one, but in three communities. And so you've got my amazing team, my dream team here that's going to go into all the details, but I want to thank you all for attending today's webinar. Thank you all for your interest in just turning these vacant lots into vibrant developments, catalytic investments across our community. I'm looking forward to seeing amazing teams form from these webinars, excited to see incredibly strong proposals, and excited, most importantly, to get these lots back in productive use. So again, thank you all for your time. Thank you for your interest. Thank you for your partnership. And I'm going to turn it back over to my team. Thanks, Erica.
Thank you, Commissioner. Okay, so digging in, what is the missing middle? What does that refer to? So this refers to the gaps in the fabric of urban neighborhoods. So you can see on the graphic in the bottom of the slide, we have our low density single family home neighborhoods and also our higher density neighborhoods. But there is this really important component of most every neighborhood in the city, which is either single family units with ADUs or additional dwelling units, 2 to 3 flats, row houses, and 6 flats. So we've seen these decline in recent years, mostly due to redlining and racism that has impacted Chicago, along with disinvestment. So we have the city of Chicago owns more than 7,000 residential parcels. So what can we do to bring more density, more people back to these neighborhoods to increase density and increase the amount of shopping then? So this is a really important piece of how we build back these neighborhoods. So as the program overview, this is a program to offer vacant city-owned parcels for redevelopment with infill housing on the south and west sides, where right now the market doesn't really support it. So the city is also offering financial assistance allocated from the Housing and Economic Development Bond, in that we will sell parcels for $1 per parcel. And then we will also provide up to $50,000 to $150,000 per unit as a subsidy. So again, keep in mind this is per unit, not necessarily per lot. So we're hoping that people do build more than one unit on any given lot to increase that density, as we talked about in the last slide. So through 2028, we anticipate the construction of 250 to 400 new buildings. And within those new buildings, we expect up to 750 residential units. This will create affordable home ownership opportunities and also engage in wealth building, where we expect people to live in the buildings and then rent out the other units within the building. This will help stabilize blocks with vacancy and repopulate these disinvested communities. This is an example of the North Lawndale response. So North Lawndale was the pilot program under Alderwoman Monique Scott that was issued last year. So these are some of the exciting projects that will be coming to North Lawndale. And you can see that there are a number of lots, multiple units per lot, and then the total cost of those developments. So as mentioned before, we have 54 lots in 3 different neighborhoods in the city. So I will turn to our Southeast planner, Jaya, to talk a bit about the lots that are within Chatham. So Jaya.
Hello, everyone. So this is the target area for West Chatham on the southeast region of Chicago. The blue area outlined is the missing middle target area. And as you can see, there's a number of very catalytic investments in this area that we think makes it a prime location for missing middle housing. First of which is the Metro Auburn Park Metro Station, which is slated to open this year. We also recently had a ribbon cutting for the Auburn Gresham Apartments, bringing affordable housing to this neighborhood. There's a streetscape improvement plan run by CDOT that should be breaking ground very shortly. There's the 79th Street Corridor Plan that engages land use around this area to bring additional density around here. There's also a new community gym opening with Blue Azul, a Save-A-Lot grocery store that has also had its ribbon cutting recently, as well as community services and the Healthy Lifestyle Hub. So this is a very interesting area for us to have missing middle in this new round. In the target area, we are offering 14 pins clustered into 3 groups. Each group has between 6 and 4 lots per cluster. These are all lots that have been environmentally cleared, so A and B requiring less environmental review. And they're, again, also really located close to an elementary school and very well positioned for development. Thank you, Erica. Oh, sorry. In addition to that, there is also a rezone that is being introduced this month in City Council, which will permit missing middle housing by right. Currently, this area is zoned RS3, which basically limits the density to single-family homes. With this rezone, which will be introduced, we will ensure that any proposals here that offer middle density housing from 2 to 6 flats should be permitted by right. So no further rezoning will be required for the proposals outlined in this, initiative. Thank you.
Thank you, Jaya. So now I will turn to my colleague in the Far South region to talk about the 2 neighborhoods that are in the Far South region. Tamara?
Thank you, Erica. So in South Chicago, the area outlined in blue is our target missing middle area. As you can see on this map, there are several exciting projects coming to South Chicago, including the Thrive Exchange development, which will actually be within the missing middle area. We are also excited about the Advocate Trinity Hospital and the Illinois Quantum and Microelectronics Park along Lakeshore Drive, just to the east of our target area. In South Chicago, we are offering 14 pins in 3 clusters. The number of pins range from 4 to 5 pins in the cluster. And this area will also be introducing some rezonings. So the area in pink along 79th Street, the top area, will be rezoned from B3-2 to B2-2 to allow for residential units to be built on the ground floor. And then in the pink outline in the bottom, that this area will be rezoned from an RS-3 to RT-4 to accommodate for the missing middle type housings that we are encouraging in this program. In Morgan Park, also outlined in blue, is the missing middle area. It is pretty close to a few metro stations, and we are also anticipating several developments in the area, including the renovation of the Jackie Robinson Park Fieldhouse, and then also Morgan Park Commons just to the east along Halsted. And in this area, we are offering 26 pins in 5 clusters, which are also offered in similar number of parcels between 4 to 7. And this area is also going to be introduced for rezoning in the area outlined in pink. It'll be rezoned from RS-3 to RT-4.
Thank you, Tamara. So the application process and timeline. So the application is open now. If you go to Shy Block Builder, you'll be able to see all of the lots available for purchase. You will need to, in the property sales program tab, select Missing Middle as the program you're looking for. That will automatically highlight all the pins and clusters that we mentioned, and then you can fill out the applications. We hope to see as much information as possible within those applications so we can review them, and I'll go over that criteria in a minute. So important to remember that applications close May 16th before midnight. We'll be looking at application selection this summer. So eligibility requirements. So there are 54 city-owned parcels. Applicants must select at least one cluster. So we're not selling by lot, but by cluster. Applications should include a development plan with timelines, conceptual design plans, and a budget. It's very important. Also important, selected developers must use architects that are self-certified by the Department of Buildings. There is a list of those self-certified architects on the website, and we can share that with you as well. Developers are also responsible for site planning, any environmental remediation, entitlements, marketing, and then sales and leasing of the properties. So the maximum per unit sale price is commensurate with a household income of 140% of the area AMI. That number is also listed in a chart on DOH's website, and we'll share that with you as well. From what we've seen, we anticipate that the market rate for selling the property will be under that 140% area AMI. So we don't think people will have trouble meeting that in this initiative. So financial incentives include, as I mentioned, the $1 per parcel land write-down, and then up to $150,000 per unit subsidy. And please note that it's not to exceed 5 million per applicant. So it's 150,000 up to 150,000 per unit, not to exceed 5 million. And also this is a reimbursement program of eligible costs. So we're looking for the developer to complete substantial completion of half the buildings in the cluster to release the funding, and then the remainder will come at the issuance of certification of completion. As mentioned by Jaya and Tamara, there are rezonings currently underway. They're going to be introduced at April City Council. we really want people not to look at the zoning that's there today, but look at the either B22 or RT4 zoning that will allow for that medium density, middle density that we're looking for. And so we expect these zoning changes to be completed prior to any land dispositions. So what we're looking for in these applications includes family housing that enhances community vibrancy. So we're hoping to see units with more bedrooms, maybe 2 to 3 bedrooms, to allow for families to live in these buildings. We are creating new homeownership opportunities for families with a range of incomes. And again, creating that wealth building if people rent units in the building as well. We need higher population density to support the nearby commercial corridors. These areas are supported by transit, either Metra or bus. So we're looking for those principles as well around the transit hub. Design excellence is very important, looking for designs that are consistent with the neighborhood and conform with the principles of equity, inclusion, innovation, sense of place, sustainability, and communication. And also important in this round are development partnerships. We'd like to see different developers partner up with varying levels of experience so that developers that have a bit more capacity can help those that are just starting out. So this is something that we'll look for in applications as well. And we'll also be sharing a list of participants and registration people who registered for these webinars. Well, we'll send a list out so you can sort of see who's on the list. And we'll also send out an email saying that if you prefer not to be included on the list, we'll remove you from that. So looking at this evaluation criteria and selection, we have 30 points, up to 30 points for proof of relevant experience. This is something that we ask for in the application. So we'll look for team qualifications, the capacity to execute the project in a timely manner, and then also look for those applicants who have formed partnerships with maybe less experienced developers as well. Up to 40 points for financial capacity and feasibility. So we'll be giving priority to projects with clear plans and designs, proof of funding, and realistic estimated budgets for site remediation and construction. Up to 10 points for design quality, looking for high quality designs that address the local context and culture of the neighborhood. Up to 10 points for catalytic impact and proposed density. So we are looking again for that missing middle, higher density than as opposed to just a single family residence. And then also demonstrated community engagement, up to 10 points. So projects that demonstrate communication with area residents and businesses and elected officials about the project as well. So there are requirements as part of this initiative. So selected applicants that accept financial assistance are required to enter into an RDA or a redevelopment agreement with the city that has requirements related to the development schedule, financing plan, land acquisition, and different city department approvals. And they also must comply with the city's construction requirements, 26% MBE, 6% WBE, budget commitments, prevailing wage, all construction jobs must be paid at prevailing wage rates, and then local hiring. 50% of all construction worker hours should be performed by Chicago residents. And this is typical of all city projects and initiatives. If a larger building is constructed with 6 or more units, the developer will be required to meet the sustainable development policy requirements, which are outlined here and then also on our website. So you can take a look at those. So just a few additional points here, some of which we've covered. All available parcels in all of the clusters are categorized as either A or B, and in sort of the environmental lingo that the city uses. So they don't require any further environmental review unless there are some issues that may arise prior to closing. But we anticipate that there won't be issues, but we can't promise, of course. Zoning and permitting. So these parcels are within the 6th, 7th, and 21st ward. As we had mentioned, they're either already zoned RT4 or in the process of being rezoned, so please take that into account in your plans. And then residential buildings with 10 or more units and contiguous parcels that contain 10 or more units must meet the ARO, or the Affordable Requirements Ordinance. Timeline. So as I had mentioned, looking to select applicants in the summer. Then we would go out to the community and hold meetings to discuss the proposals. We see that happening early this fall, this summer and early this fall. We will have final documents and the draft RDA, redevelopment agreement later this fall. We'll go to City Council in October, November. And then we want to see groundbreakings in the first quarter of 2026. So that is our presentation. Thank you for attending. Please reach out to the planners that spoke earlier. So Jaya is the lead for the West Chatham parcels. Feel free to email her. And then Tamara is the planner for South Chicago and Morgan Park. So reach out to her if you're interested in those parcels and have questions. And you can email any of them and we'll get your question answered. So you don't really have to worry about that. And then also please do visit Chicago.gov/MissingMiddle and look at the program guide. We have a guide that lays out in more detail everything we talked about today. And you can sort of look through that at your own leisure as well. So with that, I'll ask, oh, and I'm sorry, I've just noticed that Alderman Mosley of the 21st Ward has joined. Alderman Mosley, do you want to say a few words? You're there? I'm sure he's on a number of different meetings right now.
No, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm trying to move this over. Good after happy Friday, everyone. Hope you're doing well. So excited to talk about the Missing Middle project here in the 21st Ward. Here in the 21st Ward, where we are really just having a renaissance throughout our entire ward. We are bringing back all types of uses, making sure that this is a great place to live, work, and play. This site has access to transit, whether you're talking about bus options or even the expressway I-57, anchored by both the Marshfield Plaza, where we are bringing back a new gym that we're excited to begin announcing soon. But even further down to the east of 111, one of the new stops for the Red Line extension. And so we see this as an opportunity to help out also the commercial corridor of 111, which supports so many small businesses like Aaron's Cup, like Home and a Hoagie, a staple that's there. And then also many church partners that are there to help roll up sleeves and be involved. So thank you for considering what I call the best ward in the city of Chicago, and looking forward to your great innovation that you are helping our community thrive.
Thank you so much, Alderman Mosley. I'd also like to introduce our Managing Deputy Commissioner, David Scully from Department of Planning and Development, and our Deputy Commissioner, Cindy Rubik, also from Department of Planning and Development. So I think we can dig in and get to some of those questions now, if there are any outstanding.
We can also, Erica, review some of the questions that we've also answered, I think.
Great,
Some
great.
just really high level ones. There was a question about whether or not we were going to record this webinar. We are recording this webinar for anyone listening, and the recording will be shared online as long with the copy of this deck. And we are also going to be posting an FAQ in the coming days as well. So definitely keep your going back to the webpage, the Shyblock Builder webpage for Missing Middle. So that just information for everyone. There was a question about see whether or not the Chatham parcels were in the portal. We double checked, they are. So you can definitely apply for the clusters either in Morgan Park, South Chicago, or West Chatham from the portal. And then all the information is published in our program guide as well, which is on our webpage. There was a question about whether or not someone could apply. Maybe you could show a cluster map if someone could apply for one parcel within a cluster, but just to make sure it's absolutely clear, we are looking at applications are for per cluster. You must be able to show that you can construct and build on all of the parcels in the cluster. We did kind of reduce the size of the clusters from the first round in North Lawndale because we were trying to target developers who have maybe the capacity to build fewer buildings versus larger amounts of buildings. So we did make that change. We are also, as Erica said, publishing the list of participants and registered participants for this webinar, as well as the webinar that we hosted on Wednesday. We will be publishing this on Monday, and everyone will get an email, just making sure if you want to be omitted from that list, you'll have to let us know by Monday morning, and then we'll go ahead and publish that. And the reason why we're publishing it is because if you are someone who's interested in developing a cluster, but you don't have as much experience, then we are looking for developer teams to partner together. And so this is something that we've identified in our priorities as well as our goals for this initiative and is included in our scoring rubric as well. And so if you are a developer that has a lot of experience, we are looking for you to help mentor and build the capacity for more people to be able to do that in the city. Since we have a lot of vacant property, not just owned by the city of Chicago, but owned by other entities as well. This is a really important skill set that we want to try to build in our communities. Okay, maybe we can go to some of the open questions still.
So there's a question about subsidies. How will can you review one more time how the incentives and subsidies will be awarded in amount and when they will be dispersed to awardees? Get to that here. Not too far. Oh, it's back here. Sorry about that, everyone.
There it is.
So again, this is a reimbursement program. So applicants should expect requisitions, sorry here, for reimbursement of eligible costs for each cluster at substantial completion of half the buildings in that cluster, then at substantial completion for all buildings in the cluster, and the remainder upon issuance of the certificate of completion. So there will be generally 3 different points where money will be distributed during the process. Q&A here.
I can
Um,
answer the one about the AMI sales price. I think there was a question about how do we calculate the maximum sales price? And this is dependent on the specific proposal, the number of units, the number of bedrooms in the household, and the number of people in the household size. But you know, we do reference the AMIs posted online, but we also, just to give you, I guess, an example, if you were to build a two flat, and it's, let's say it has 3-bedroom units in that two flat, and let's say it's for a 4-person household for a 3-bedroom unit. That seems like a reasonable assumption. A sales price higher than approximately 430,000 per unit would trigger a price reduction to be commensurate with a 140% AMI household income. So that's just one example. It's really hard because like I said, it changes. The AMI percentages changes every year, and then it depends on the number of units in the building, depends on the number of bedrooms in each unit, and depends on the household size. So I just gave one example. Hopefully that is helpful.
Great, thank you, Cindy. Trying to see if there's one here that hasn't been,
There was a question about the market values for each of the properties, and those are listed in the program guide per pin, so you can see that. And there was a question that we had answered about who is doing the zoning change, if the applicant is responsible for that. And we are working with the alders that we've already drafted the legislation, and it's been submitted, and it will be introduced for the April City Council meeting next week. So we're ready and, you know, working on that for this so that the applicants don't have to do that zoning change.
and then do you have an estimated per unit cost or range provided for the prevailing wage requirements?
So that's, we have not broken that up in the budget requests. So the budget request is, you know, we expect applicants to kind of work with their architects and maybe a general contractor to understand the estimated costs for those requirements. And then in the application is where you would submit the budget sources and uses. So that's, we would not provide that information to you.
Yeah, because it also varies based off of the product. So we want to, you know, sort of allow the developer to suggest what product they think makes sense for the neighborhood and how that also fits into the costs overall.
Well, I think we've answered most of the
Yeah,
questions. It's great.
and just as a reminder, we'll post a FAQ, frequently asked questions, if you want to go back and take a look. And again, please, after this is over, please feel free to reach out to planners with additional questions through April 15th. So next week as well.
All right, thanks everyone for
Yes.
for joining us today. We know on a Friday afternoon, we really appreciate your interest in this initiative. We're excited, especially coming off of our first round, which has been we received a lot of interest. And as I said to one of the responses, I mean, you are required to apply for a cluster rather than a parcel, but you can also apply for multiple clusters. So there's nothing preventing you from applying for multiple clusters. There's also no income limit in terms of the end buyer. So those are common questions we get, and we just want to make sure everyone knows that as well.
Great. Well, thank you, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.